Welcome to Parent Connect, and today we're going to connect with a class act here at the University of South Alabama's Children's and Women's Hospital. And when I say a class act, I mean a class act. Today we have Miss Ann Vella with us. Hello, Miss Vella. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
All right, Miss Vella. So I've just announced to everyone that we have a class act on our show today. So when I say class act, what are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about our hospital school program, and it's called the Class Act program because it's a classroom in the morning and an activity room in the afternoon.
Oh, that's neat.
And that's where we came up with the name. And it's based at USA Children's and Women's Hospital, but it's also a joint project with Mobile County Public School System here in Mobile, and the teachers, we all work for Mobile County Public School System, so it's a joint program between the hospital and the school system.
Okay, that's one. So who would we see in a class act classroom?
Well, we would see each child each day who's in the hospital at Children's and Women's Hospital who would be able to leave their room. They would come to class with us. So each day we get a list of who's in the hospital. We divide them up. We have 3 teachers here, and I'm the elementary
Service all
teacher.
the students.
And so I would service all the elementary students who are in regular education each day. And if they can't come to the Class Act room, then we take it on the road.
And go to the bedside.
We go
and
to
then
the
help them
bedside and
there.
we teach them in their hospital beds, one-on-one. That's what we do sometimes in the afternoon, while the other children who've had school in the morning are doing arts and crafts
Their
and
activity.
activities. Then we will go to the bedside and teach the children who can't come out.
And then how long are they in the classroom? How long are they at the class act?
They can stay all day as long as they want. That it's kind of a come and go school. We start in the morning, but around 9:30, and then we stop in the afternoon as late as we have staff here or volunteers here. And in fact, it can go on into the evening. On Friday, I was with a patient in her room teaching her at 5:30, and she looked
that
out
is late.
and she looked out the window and said, "Oh, Miss Ann, it's nighttime. We're having
It's already
school at
getting dark."
nighttime."
Oh, that's neat.
And I said, that's the beauty of our hospital school. The children never leave. So we can have school whenever
Whenever.
they're
Right.
able
To accommodate them.
to accommodate their schedules.
Now you mentioned volunteers, so who all do you have on staff with Class Act?
On staff, we have myself, and I'm the elementary teacher. Then we have Kristen Bearden, and she's our special education teacher. And she and I share this Class Act room. Then we have Mrs. Diane Presswood, and she's our paraprofessional, and she helps all of
out
us.
as well.
And then we have Miss Mary Day Lantaff, who is our high school, middle school teacher, and she teaches right now ages grades 6 through 12. And she has her own classroom downstairs and a teen lounge that she uses for the high school students' classroom as well.
I bet, because being in high school, you certainly don't want to get behind, miss too many days. I mean, that's a big deal. Who exactly qualifies? I mean, once you're here, how many days do you have to be in the hospital in order to receive the services?
That's the beauty of our hospital school. It is unique in that there is no waiting period. The first day you're in the hospital, you're invited to come to school with us. And if you can't physically come, then we will try to bring school to you. So there's no waiting period. Because if you are a parent or a teacher, you know that just a few days out of school can
It's
quickly cause
overwhelming.
a child to fall behind. So there's no waiting period. We have a list each day of each child who's here,
Who's
and we
there.
see every child every day.
Especially during that time that your child is in the hospital, you have so many things to worry about. The last thing you want to worry about is, oh, now they've missed school for a week, 2 weeks, however long. So that is wonderful.
And that's another beauty of our program is that if you're a parent and you've ever even tried to help your child with homework,
Oh, yeah.
think how hard that is, because
It
parents
is.
are not teachers, and there's something about the dynamic of a parent and a child that sometimes it makes for a very
Bumps heads.
volatile
It's
school
not very
situation.
easy.
Then you throw in pain and medications, cabin fever, stuck in the
And so
room.
many things that you're
And the
worried
parent is
about.
exhausted. The parent does not need to be the teacher. They don't have time. They're not qualified to be the teacher. And they are so grateful when we come in and
It
say,
is.
we'll take over that part
It's
of this.
such a relief to know that there is somebody there, that they're going to get their schoolwork, and they're also going to be able to do fun things during the day since they are stuck in the hospital.
And you mentioned the qualifications, because these are certified. You all are certified teachers, so they have the best of the best. They're not going to miss anything, and it's like having your own one-on-one personal
private
tutor.
teacher.
You're right.
And interestingly, too, not only do we all have teachers certification degrees, we each have a master's in counseling. And that makes a big difference because we know how to talk to parents. Well, sometimes you don't know what to say, and sometimes knowing what not to say or do as important as knowing what to say or do. And so our counseling background and our experience in this field, but all of us have been teachers for many years, help us to try to meet the needs of the parents and the children in the best way we can.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Class Act, as you all can see, parents, it is a great tool here at the University of South Alabama's Children and Women's Hospital. So when we come back after break, we're going to continue to learn more about the Class Act program.
Hello, I'm Helena Tyler. I would like to invite you to join me for Inside Education. Come with us as we take a look at what's happening around Mobile County Public Schools, as well as what's happening in your child's classroom. That's Inside Education, right here on the MCPSS TV network.
Hi, and welcome back to Parent Connect. We're here with a very classy lady, Miss Ann Vela, talking about the Class Act program here at USA Children's and Women's Hospital. Ms. Vela, can you tell us a little bit about the activities that you guys do here with the students/patients?
Well, that's a big part of our day too, is that we feel like not only is it important for the children to do their schoolwork each day, it's also important for them to have time for activities. So in the afternoons, we try to plan for We PE. We have a we, and we call it We PE.
Oh, I like that.
And so they do We
That is a
PE
great
here in the
activity.
Class Act. But we also do activities, because one of the parts of a child's day that they miss from school when they're in the hospital is all of the activities that go with being a regular, typical child in a school. All the fun things. Making Mother's Day cards, making Christmas ornaments, Halloween decorations, Thanksgiving, pilgrims.
You certainly don't want to be that just because you're in the hospital, you don't get to have those pretty little crafts to send home to your parents, put on the refrigerator. That is a very important part.
And as the teachers, that means that you all are also planning. A lot of planning goes into what you do, and then you're planning for different children and
different grades, different activities.
Exactly.
We are. We follow the pacing guides from Mobile County Public Schools. So that's helpful in that we're able to pull it up online, see what skills they're missing that week. And so if the teacher is not able to send us their work, we're able to
have that resource.
To access the resource for the pacing guides. But for example, the children today, some of the teachers have sent their EQT study guides. So we're doing their study guides as if they were in school, so that they will be prepared to take their EQTs when they go back for a makeup day, or if we can get them done here, we'll work with them to do that here
so
too.
that is something also that the teachers can email you the EQTs and have that done here.
The teachers can email or fax us whatever work they would like them to do, and we contact the school. We try to do that the very first day they're in the hospital, so the teacher knows they're here. They can get the work over here if they want, or they can just email us the skills and say, we're working on Long U, on this story, this skill, and then we can access it because we're teachers. We're not nurses, we're teachers, so we can come up with the lessons that will teach the skills that the child is missing that week. Our goal is to try to send them home as much on target with what they've missed as possible.
With as little work that they'll have to make up once they're back.
And if they are here a long time, occasionally we'll have students who are here a long time, then it's just vitally important that they don't fall behind the whole grade behind, but it's also important they have the activities. Because can you imagine missing 1 year of your child's school papers,
And never
child's
having
school
any of the activities,
crafts
the
that you probably are pulling out every year to put on your Christmas tree or hang up for holidays at your house from when your child was in kindergarten. Well, if they spent kindergarten here with us, which does happen sometimes,
you don't have
then
any of those things.
we make sure that the parents have those things too.
That's wonderful, and that also speaks to the collaboration between you all, USA, Class Act, and the public school
The school system.
So there has to be, and I'm sure the teachers appreciate this, because You just said it. The students come back, they're back on track, you know, when they can come back and they really haven't missed. But to hear you say they're here taking EQTs, that also stresses to parents the importance of education.
Yes.
Well, that is really vitally important, and that we try to keep them up if they're physically able to keep up with their work, because research has shown that we all live and get well if we have something to go back to.
You
A
thrive.
child's job is school. So if you took the child's job away and said, for instance, you're in 4th grade, don't worry about any of your schoolwork, what message is that child getting? They're thinking they're not going to get well, and they might give
it
up.
makes you think that, well, I have nothing now. I'm just in the hospital, I'm sick, and then that's all I'll have for a few days, a few weeks, for however long that they are here.
It's very frightening for a child to tell them not to worry about schoolwork.
Exactly.
And usually children get well, and usually they're going back to school.
Exactly.
So we are trying to make the transition back as easy as possible. Now, sometimes they're too sick to do much work, and in that case, we can negotiate with the school, work with the parent to try to help
to get them caught up to some point.
catch up to some point so that they cannot be so far behind, or we call it power teaching. We'll go fast. We're going to teach them as quickly as we can while they're here, because sometimes the medical needs overwhelm our time.
And you said power teaching. You all are definitely power teachers, because you mentioned working with the flexible hours and working with the student until 5:30. And I know that's just because you saw that need, or the
Yes,
student
your
had that desire.
dedication.
And that's important more than anything also in the hospital. But that speaks to the profession of a teacher. You do what you have to do, and you do it when it's needed, and that's because of the child. So that really speaks a lot to me. You talk about a Class Act program. Now that's classic.
Certainly,
Yes,
for
definitely.
Well, I've always said there isn't a teacher in this county who isn't working overtime. And now that you mention it, I bet most teachers would love to have a couple more hours each day with a student here or there.
To work on
To
something.
work on
to
something.
sit
What
to make sure
what
they've
runs
gotten
out
that
for a
skill.
teacher is time. Each day
Exactly.
when that bell rings, I'm sure that teacher thinks, oh my word, I didn't get to several things I really needed to
We
get to
didn't cover
today.
this and that.
And here, there's no bell, so we can just keep on going.
Exactly. So when let's say, for instance, with the EQTs, when the student has finished, so all of these grades are then sent back to the
their
home school.
We send it all back to the base school, so that that teacher will grade it according to the
Okay.
rubrics or the standards that she has in place for her whole class. We send the work back, and then she enters it into the computer, and she does the grades.
Wow.
And we
they will
just
get
make
the
sure that it
report
gets
card
back
and
to them, and
everything.
she handles the report card, because that is also a very important
It
thing,
is.
that the children are still with their base school. Because like we said, this is a child's job. If we withdrew
Oh,
them
yes.
from that school, then that would be another loss.
Yes.
For instance, if they
Get
had
something
cancer.
else they don't have.
You know, if you withdraw a child from school, to them, it's devastating. So we want to keep them at that base school. Then we just try to supplement here, send it all back to that base school, because they are still a student in that
In that
class.
school.
And there is even a program we have where there's a bear in the chair program, where a stuffed animal goes to the school, sits in the empty chair of a
take
child
their
with
place.
cancer.
Oh, I love that.
You'll have
That's
to ask somebody
wonderful.
about that too, because that's a beautiful thing. So that the child isn't in his desk, but the bear's in
There's
his
something
desk.
they're representing
It's
them.
called the bear in the chair.
Not only for the student, but for their classmates. It helps them to remember that, hey, such and such
Such
is
a-
coming
that's
back.
right.
They're sick for a period, but they will be back with us in the classroom.
They're here. They're
That's
just having
wonderful.
some schoolwork over here for a little while, and then they'll
And then
be
they'll be back.
So when we come back from break, we're going to actually get a chance to visit a classroom, see some instruction taking place, and learn some more about Class Act. Thank you.
Hi, and we're back with Parent Connect. We're still here at USA Children's and Women's Hospital, talking to Miss Mary Day Lantaff.
That's right.
Yes, Miss Mary Day, tell me a little bit about the Class Act program. How long has it been? since it started?
Well, the Class Act program has been here for close to 26 years.
It's a long time.
So it is. We were one of the first programs, I think, in the States actually, to start a school program for hospitalized children. Right now we have 3 teachers, but we started off with just one teacher, Miss Ann, and she was the one that really got our program started.
And serviced all the students, all the patients at
Of course,
that time.
then it was much, much smaller.
Okay.
And I think we started off at the old doctor's hospital. And then in 1990, we came over to the new hospital. Now, we were in the old part of the hospital for many, many years. And when they built the new towers, which is where we're at right now, we've been here 5 years, I think, maybe around 5 years we've been in the new facility. So they have built 2 years, just 2 years. They built this classroom for us here.
Which is a beautiful classroom.
It certainly is, and they provided us, the hospital provides us with our computers, our technology, the facilities itself, all the furniture. So the hospital participates in this program quite a bit.
Yes.
We also have, I have a classroom down on the 3rd floor.
For
And
the middle school and high
and
schoolers.
high school. It's a little bit smaller than this room, but they don't need quite as much room anyway. And then we also have a teen lounge for the older kids, and it's up here on the 4th floor.
And what do they do in the teen lounge?
Well, the teen lounge is kind of a hangout place for the older kids. You know, they can get together. We have video games in there. A lot of the kids love playing the board games because in this day and age, a lot of the kids don't even know how to play board games.
No, everything is technology and electronical.
So we find when they're all sitting around the table playing a board game, there's a lot of conversation that goes on. They meet each other and talk
Get
about
to know other kids that are in the similar situation as them being here in the hospital.
That's exactly right. So after Miss Ann was here, then I started. I've been here about 22 years maybe.
That's a long time.
A long time. So I came over as the high school teacher. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I can't remember how long Miss Crispin's been here, our special ed teacher, but we hired a special education teacher.
There's always a need for that.
Right. So I was teaching special ed back then, plus the upper grades.
The high schoolers.
So now, you know, we feel a little more fully staffed. And
You also have a teacher's aide, a paraprofessional.
and she works mostly with the elementary children. And I work with grades 6 through 12. So I also work with our high-risk teenagers that are pregnant.
Okay.
So they're located in the old facility. So I go there and
So you do still move around a lot.
quite a bit. And I also work with students who are at USA Medical Center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so sometimes 2 or 3 days a week I go over to the medical center and to work with older kids that are still in school over there.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, sometimes it kind of stretches me a little thin, but managed to get around to everybody.
Never end. It seems to never
We
end.
stay pretty busy.
How do you keep your high schoolers motivated? It's already hard to do when they're not sick and in school, but what about when they're here?
That can be a real challenge.
I bet.
And a lot of the high school kids, you know, they don't look their best. They're sick, they're in bed, and they
feel
don't
well.
really want to come out of the room. So I use a lot of humor with these kids. And
That always works.
It does. And a lot of times I might start off with them doing a computer activity, something that's a little more entertaining for them. And eventually we kind of work into getting them out of the room.
And doing actual school work.
Well, or doing some actual schoolwork in their room. I do
their
a lot of
room.
bedsides. But it's real important. And a lot of the high school kids are really concerned about keeping up with the schoolwork because
and
they
the
get
credit.
credits.
Yes. And being able
So-
to complete high school and graduate with your friends and all your other classmates.
So sometimes that's enough motivation in and of itself. Now the older kids, they really want to have their real schoolwork. They don't really like doing extra work if
activities.
it doesn't go towards a grade. So I spend a
Typical
lot
teenager.
typical teenagers. I spend a lot of time on the telephone with the schools trying to stress to them how important it is for them to get schoolwork to me as quickly as they
As
can.
possible.
And sometimes with the high schools, the teachers are very busy, and I know that, and it's hard
Takes
for
a
them
little longer for them.
to get the work over to me. But I can also, a lot of times I will go online too and see
Look
what
through the
skills they're
pacing
working
guide.
on, look at the pacing guides, so that I can just kind of pick up where they've been.
Then what about the other students that maybe are taking AP classes that have a lot of work to catch up on?
Well, luckily for me, the AP students usually are pretty much able to work independently, and they can do their own work. But we're very, very fortunate to have many volunteers from the universities around here. We get volunteers from USA South, from Spring Hill. Spring Hill actually has a program where students are on scholarship and they're required to work so many hours per week. So they come. So a lot of
To work
these
as volunteers?
as volunteers, and it's part of their scholarship program. So they come on a regular basis, and sometimes I can assign one of these volunteers to some of the upper level classes that I'm not quite as skilled in, because when you start getting into calculus and trigonometry and some of these more difficult courses, I usually rely on these college kids.
You talk
to
about the
help
high
me
school
with that.
courses. It's hard sometimes to do fourth grade math. It's
Exactly.
certainly very different, and it is one of those things that the students, I'm sure, would like the help from, their teacher being there every day. But you have to do what it
Really
takes
high
to
level.
make sure that they don't stay behind.
That's exactly right. So teaching the older kids is kind of a different skill set, and I touch on all the subjects.
Thank you so much. When we return, we'll be talking to volunteers and how the volunteer program works with the Class Act program. Thank you so much.
The more parents are involved in school, the more likely it is a child will succeed. Children with involved parents and attend school regularly make better grades and have better social skills. Every involved parent makes a difference.
Get involved. Ask about your child's day. Explain how your education matters. Parent involvement, it matters.
You can find more information on parent involvement at mcpss.com.
Welcome back, parents. Today we are connecting with the Class Act program at the University of South Alabama's Children's and Women's Hospital. And we are here with Ms. Kimberly Thompson Yates. Ms. Yates, we've had a chance to take a look at the Class Act program, see it in action, learn a lot about a great program. So as students get ready to leave the hospital, they're ready to go home, they're ready to go back to school, how does that transition take place?
That transition has a lot of components depending on why the child is actually here with us in the hospital. So, it can be as simple as just communications with the teachers that they're returning. We've
back to
already
their
hopefully
school.
filled the gap and their schoolwork is complete. But some kids leave here, they may have transition or mobility issues or infection control issues. So all of those components need to be communicated and expressed in the most
And
efficient
addressed
and
with the
effective
school.
way possible.
So there's a system in place for all of this to take place. So really, what you all do, I just cannot even express how grateful I am. Because to know that a child is in the hospital, they're not going to miss a beat, and then they will transition back.
Back to their
Also,
school.
during the summertime, you all have some things that go on here.
Well, summertime is a big gap in educational services, as we know, for a lot of children. Say if you're here in the summertime, then of course that gap is going to be expanded to return, and that will affect your transition services, because often having a summer camp, which is our science and our mathematics studies, produced in a fun way, so children love learning, but that gives the teachers also a chance to meet those students who are going to need those services returning in the fall.
That's wonderful.
And see how they're doing.
Exactly.
And see how they're doing. But at the same time, they continue their education, and education is as important in the summer as it is in the school year. So,
What about the MAP Child and the Child Life programs?
As of 2012, we combined our forces together to make a unit because what the teachers do is invaluable to the hospital and to the Child Life program. And so some of to be able to pull the units together where we have our therapeutic recreation specialists, our Child Life specialists, getting insight from the teachers as well as giving insight to the teachers on a child's condition and how we can accommodate that and make it work best for the child. Having that unit function together under what's called MAP Child and Family Life has been shown to has increased our services and it made us much more efficient.
More successful.
And it's holistic because you can't do one without the other.
Can't do one without the other.
So that collaboration and working together piece. What are some other things that the University of South Alabama's Children's and Women's Hospital have to offer as far as something that our parents would be interested in knowing?
You know, I think the thing is for parents, the fear of your child being hospitalized and
to start off with.
To start off with. I think I hope that when they arrive here, they realize that certain milestones, such as the child's birthday, or they're going to miss Christmas, or they're going to miss Halloween, or these sort of services we try to provide, especially through our school teachers. You know, if they're going to make Valentines for their parents while they're in school, then they're going to have that chance to give that to them while they're here. So we're hoping it just makes the environment more normal for a child, not entirely normal, it is a hospital, but I think the teachers contribute greatly to making this a normal environment for a child.
They certainly do.
Exactly, it is. So if someone is interested, one of our high school students, in volunteering, because we know that we've got a chance to see some volunteers upstairs.
In action.
Exactly, and during the summertime. If someone wants to volunteer, what do they need to do?
If you want to volunteer and you're a teen, 16 and older, please contact our volunteer services office. The volunteer opportunities for teenagers is only in the summertime.
That's good.
That's good. And they need that for community service. And also, I think that would help some of the students up there to see someone, familiar age range face around them.
They'd much rather play games or have peer tutoring with their peers than some of them. Yes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So what are some other things that go on here at South Alabama's, University of South Alabama's Children and Women's Hospital?
Well, we try to bring awareness to certain issues that affect children, such as childhood cancer awareness. We do treat cancer here in this hospital, so we have kiddos who are affected by being here long term, and those sort of things, along with bringing awareness and just marking those milestones, adding closure by having the bell ringing ceremonies where they celebrate cancer treatment. We do St. Baldrick's, where we had 14 employees shave their head last year just to raise money, to support and bring awareness to childhood cancer. So we try to do a lot of fun things that we keep children's interest and keep them just.
And do you guys have service dogs that
we
come
do have
by?
pets. We do have actually we have I think 10 pet therapy dogs right now that come on Tuesdays and Thursdays as a way to just comfort the children.
That's wonderful.
They miss their dogs. The dogs are always just a good distraction when they come in and interact with the children. We also have just added a reading dog to the classroom, which has been a great motivator to get children to read. They love reading to this puppy dog who loves to listen. So it's been a great addition to the school program.
So what about for parents? Because I know sometimes you all have to step outside of the teacher mode and to sit and have a conversation, and especially when you talk about that child's education, providing that transition piece for the parents and giving them information.
Well, I know the feedback we get from the parents, they are very, very grateful, very appreciative to having this service here in the hospital, the school service, as well as the Child Life and TR. It does bring an element of comfort to the parents, just knowing that their child's not going to fall behind, that things are going to stay normal for that child. So we get lots of positive feedback, and it does bring, of course, having your child hospitalized would be very stressful for a parent.
Exactly.
And during the school year, the first thing is my child going to be able to,
are they going to fall behind?
Are they going to fall behind? Yes. And so our parent services are similar to, as well as our child services. We have a Ronald McDonald family room here on the premises where they can have coffee, wash clothes, take showers, use a computer.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we have family nights where they can play games together as a family, and different opportunities for the families to spend time together.
Well, this has definitely been a class act, and we appreciate the University of South Alabama's Children's and Women's Hospital and the staff of Class Act for having us here today. Thank you, Paula Reese,
Carmen Bounds,
and Parent Connect. We'll see you again soon.